Wednesday show. Wednesday show. Wednesday show. I don't know if you can hear me or if you're even there. I don't know if you'd listen to the Brent Dodge here. Yes, I know it's Wednesday, and I shouldn't speak to you. But still I see your usernames, and I wonder, what would you like to do? The people who watch this later on who are like, this guy just sings all the time. I do sometimes, but this is not a singing episode, and I know for a fact that I'm a terrible singer. So yeah. How's everybody doing though? Is everyone doing well? So we are here to do the 842nd episode of the Wednesday show. We're going to be going through and doing the topic that you guys want to do tonight. We've got a little poll going on the side over here, or maybe it's down here. I don't know. It depends on the way that you're watching this. So it's either over here or over here. It's wherever the chat room is. We have our poll on what topic you guys would like to do. We can either do a recap of Mickey's not-so-scary Halloween party that we went to last night. We can do an episode of Ask the Expert, a Connect the Dots, or a Hey, Take a Hike. So I will let you guys go through and start to put your votes in there. And while you guys put your votes in, let's get this party started. We're going to start the 842nd episode of the Wednesday show in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 842nd episode of the Wednesday show. Today is October 8th, 2025, and I'm your host, as always, Brent Dodge. Hello. Today we're going to be going through and doing one of the topics that you guys are currently voting on in the chat room. We're either going to be doing a recap of yesterday's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party episode of Ask the Expert, where you send your questions in about anything and everything Disney, and we go through and answer all of those questions. A game of Connect the Dots, or a Take a Hike, where we take a hike through a specific land someplace in the Walt Disney World Resort. But of course, before we get to that, let's do odd news for the week. So first off, we had a lot of different things that came out this morning with Disney. They made a lot of different announcements about things that are going to be coming sometime in the very near future. Number one, we're going to be getting our very first ever Scooter audiomatronic at the brand new Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets, which is going to be debuting next summer of 2026. Why is that making that much noise? Okay, maybe it's going to stop making noise. But yeah, we for Muppets roller coaster, Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. Does that noise, is the noise popping up on your side too? Can you guys hear that? I'm just afraid it's messing with the thing. Stop making the noise. Oh my gosh. Stop making the noise. Let's just replug it in here. Maybe. Boo-doo. Boo-doo. Oh, wait. And it's still charging. Okay. I have my watch plugged into the computer here. So all of a sudden, if it's making noise, I don't know if you guys can even hear this or not. But yeah, so they're going to have Rock and Roller Coaster starring the Muppets. We're going to have a brand new Scooter audiomatronic. It's going to be the first time that we ever see Scooter in audiomatronic form. In fact, a lot of the Muppets we've never seen in audiomatronic form, so I don't know why they're saying, like, hey, this is going to be the first time for Scooter. Oh my gosh, what are you doing? I don't understand what's going on here. We're just going to take that off for right now, because I'm not sure why it's not connecting the way it should. Well, let's try it one more time. Let's try to connect it. And hoping for the best. And now it's not even charging. I don't know what's going on with this watch. But yeah, because in the past we've had audiomatronics of the Penguins, Statler and Waldorf. We've also had obviously Bean Bunny, the Swedish Chef, all at Muppet Vision 3D. We've also had Dr. Bunsen Honeydew and his assistant Beaker, beep beep. They've been in animatronic form before. I think we had Kermit one time, and I'm just drawing a blank on exactly where we might have had Kermit, or maybe it's just the puppet that I'm thinking of, or the oversized character. But yeah, so we're going to have that one. They've also announced that Officer Claude Hauser will be in Zootopia Better Together, which is going to be debuting in a month, exactly 1 month. So we're hopefully going to be able to go check that out when that opens up. I am signed up right now to be going into Animal Kingdom on the preview days and on the actual day that Zootopia Better Together opens up. So hopefully I will see it sometime during the previews. But at the same time, if I don't, at least I can hopefully see it on opening day instead. And then on top of all of that stuff, they also announced today that they're going to be getting the animatronics that are found at the Frozen ride over in Tokyo are now going to be coming over to the Frozen attraction here at Walt Disney World in Epcot. So the animatronics that we have over at Epcot for Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, Olaf, Sven, they're all very, very impressive. But at the same time, if you've looked at the animatronics that they have for the new attraction out there, they are much more impressive out there. So I think it just kind of makes sense that they will be bringing that over there or over here as well. In addition to that, thank you everyone out there who's been joining us for our Saturday in the Park. If you didn't already know, every single Saturday we do a live broadcast from someplace found throughout the Walt Disney World Resort. You never know where we're going to be coming to you from, but I promise you we'll always be coming to you live from Disney. So make sure you join us every single Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern Time for our live broadcast. Also, thank you everyone out there who's been subscribing or getting other people to subscribe. Let's take a look at our subscriber count as of this second. We are starting off tonight's episode with 8,922 subscribers. As always, if we get more subscribers as the evening goes through, we will go into extra innings. So send a friend or two or 1,078 over so we can hit 10,000 by the end of the night. Or even if we get 78 more by the end of the night, I will be perfectly happy to end this broadcast with 9,000 instead of the 8,922 that we're currently at. So send a friend or two, but thank you everyone out there who has subscribed yet. If you're not subscribed and you're watching this right now, make sure you subscribe. Also, make sure you like the video. Also, I cannot understand why this thing keeps on going through and beeping constantly at me. Is it popping up on there? I don't even think the chat room's working either because we have not hit a single person right in. It's showed me that we've had up to 12 people who've watched so far, but we also have not had any comments yet. So I don't know. Maybe should we try to read? Well, it says that people voted on the poll. So it looks like we will be doing a recap of last night's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. I just think that we are having technical difficulties here because... Oh, wait, we got one person who's watching, or at least in the chat room talking. Yeah, right now it's showing me that I've got 11 people who are on. Oh, now it says 2 people on. Now it says 13. I don't know if we're just having connection problems today or not, but hopefully we are not. All right, so if you're there, hello. If you're not there, well, you're not going to really know this anyways. All right, so let's do a recap of last night's Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. All right, so for those of you guys who've never done Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, what we're going to do is we're going to go through and kind of do a whole recap of the entire event. We'll talk about different things that you can do at the event, the way that our night went through, and all that other fun stuff. And we have a few little show and tell things as well. So one of my neighbors had invited me to go join them at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party last night, and I wholeheartedly said yes. Now, I've gone to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party literally, well, not literally every year, but I've been going since 2004 was the first time I ever went. That was back when I was on my college program. That's when I went as Waldo. My roommate Kyle and I went over to Walmart, and we bought a bunch of different costume stuff. He went as a soldier, and he thought his outfit was amazing, and I said, I'm going to go as Waldo. And he thought that was ridiculous until eventually everyone was getting pictures with me, and no one got a picture of him as a soldier. So, haha, in your face, Kyle, if you're watching. But after that, when I moved down here in 2010, I was going to the Halloween party quite frequently, but I have stopped going every single year over the last few years, mainly just due to the fact that it is very expensive, even though I do truly love the entire party. Now, in 2019, they had the greatest deal of all, where in 2019 they actually had an annual pass specifically for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and it was like $200. At that point, the Halloween party tickets were about $115. So if you went over 3 times or over 2 times, it was paying off for itself. So that year was one of my favorite years with Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, and I went over and over and over and over again. I was literally going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party 2 times a week at least, sometimes more, sometimes less, but that doesn't make sense because I said at least and then I said sometimes less. But anyways, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party has always been my favorite party event. Now, I do like Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, but here's the thing about Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. If you are an annual pass holder like me and you have the Incredit Pass, which gets you into the park every single day of the entire year, if you go over to Magic Kingdom on the week of Christmas, they still have all the different things that you can see during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. You just don't have to pay for the event. Like, you can just see it on a regular day. So I typically wait until that week now to do that. The only exception is I miss meeting Scrooge McDuck, because you meet Scrooge McDuck along with Donald Duck in Christmas outfits, and I just absolutely love that. So I was going to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party for years, and then I haven't gone for about 5 years now. But Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, it's been a few years since I've gone, and then when my neighbors invited me last night, I was like, yes, of course I want to go. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about this. Then we're going to go to your questions about things as well. But you get there, you sign in, you get your little bracelet. They switched up the bracelets 2 years ago, last year, and I don't know. I have so many random bracelets that I've had throughout the years, but they used to have it so the bracelets used to be like these type right here, where you used to be able to latch it onto you. And they switched to this fabric, which is so incredibly tough to get off. I was walking back from the Magic Kingdom last night, like trying to get it off, because I like to keep them, but at the same time, it was kind of a pain. But at the same time, I want to keep it. In addition to that, you also get your trick or treat bag. Ooh. So that's the one side of it. We got the Gravediggers from the Haunted Mansion. On the other side, we have Boo to You with Mickey and Minnie on there as well. And on the sides, we got the Walt Disney World and Magic Kingdom signs. And they also start off by giving you your first candy thing. Ooh. Now, around the park, there are going to be several different trick-or-treat spots where guests can go through and they can actually have it so they can do all the trick-or-treating that they want. In fact, whatever you want to do at this party, you can do. So if you just want to go through and collect as much candy as possible, go for it, because that's your treat to yourself. Now, there are multiple spots around the park where you can get treats. There is Carousel of Progress, which I did not do. There is there's the trail between Tron and Storybook Circus, which we did not do. We did do the one that's over at the Fantasyland train station, which they give you a scoop of candy. There's also one that's found over at Dumbo. We didn't do that one. That was a really long line, like ridiculously long. Like, I'm sure it was probably only like a 5-10 minute wait, but at the same time, I'm not going to waste 5 to 10 minutes for candy when I can get candy later on as well. In addition to that, my favorite candy stop that you can find throughout all of the parks is over at Mickey's PhilharMagic, because inside the theater, they are actually watching or showing all day long these Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad, but specifically the Sleepy Hollow section. So you can go into that theater and you can sit there, you can sit back, relax, and watch The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, starring the Headless Horseman and Ichabod Crane and Brom Bones and all those other great characters. Overall, I think that's probably the best of the candy spots. In addition, this lousy watch. Stop making noises. No matter what, you can get a lot of candy. I stopped at 4 spots. I got quite a bit of candy, not a ton. I ate a little bit when I was waiting for the parade to start. But overall, candy stations are really, really good. In addition to that, they have some special acts that are only there for that day. We went over and we watched. Here, let me find the map. Here's our Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party map. And through it, we got all the different special event things that you can do throughout the day. So we went over to Storybook Circus and we watched, wait, what is it called? Do they have a name on here? Maybe they don't have a name. Does it not have a name? No, they don't have a name in here. So they had a special like little circus act going on. It's got to have a name in here. They had a special Halloween fun in Storybook Circus entertainment that lights up the night with surprise appearances by Pluto. So over there they had it. So there were these acrobats that were there. There was two guys, and they were going through and doing a whole set of them on a seesaw and launching them up into the air and doing flips. Overall, really, really cool event. I've never seen that one before. Apparently, it's new this year, but really, really cool way to just kind of sit back, relax, and kind of enjoy the time. There's a few different dance parties. There is one that is found over in Tomorrowland. There's also one that's found inside of Cosmic Rays, also Tomorrowland, but the other one is found over by Space Mountain. And then we also have a pirate band over in Adventureland. We just never made our way over to Adventureland yesterday. And then in addition to that, they have the Cadaver Dance, aka the Dapper Dance, but the dead version. And it is still the same people who are the Dapper Dance during the day, but now they are the Cadaver Dance at night. And they go through and they sing some spooky ghost stories and songs. Overall, the Cadaver Dance, hands down, my favorite of the special entertainment that are just kind of like walking around atmosphere entertainment. But all of them are great, just additions to being there around the park. Now, there are multiple attractions that are open throughout the entire thing. In fact, I think almost every attraction is open with the exception of a few. Let's open up our trusty map right here. Swiss Family Treehouse is open. Wait a minute. Okay, so here, we're just going to read through these real quickly for you. These are the attractions that are open. Swiss Family Treehouse, Magic Carpets of Aladdin, Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, Tiana's Bayou Adventure, A Haunted Mansion, where's the next one? Prince Charming's Regal Carousel, Peter Pan's Flight, It's a Small World, Under the Sea, Journey to the Little Mermaid, Barnstormer, Dumbo, Man Tea Party, Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, Seven Doors Mine Train. We also have Tomorrowland Speedway, Tron, Space Mountain, Astro Orbiter, the People Mover, and that is all. Now, for all of these different things, there are a few of them that do have a special Halloween twist. I was very disappointed because yesterday I was really hoping that we would be able to do the special Halloween twist for Pirates of the Caribbean until I found out that they no longer do the special twist for Pirates of the Caribbean. So up until possibly last year, but I didn't go last year, so maybe not. But up until a few years ago, you used to be able to go on Pirates of the Caribbean and they would have it so there were different character actors around the attraction. So when you're going through, you wouldn't just have the animatronics there, but you would also have live entertainers that were also interacting with you and the other people on your boat. And it made it a whole lot more entertaining. Also, when you're going through the actual queue for the attraction, they used to have it so there was pirates kind of like behind the chains and stuff. It just made it a great immersive experience. So I was a little disappointed that they did not have that this year, but at the same time, maybe people just didn't like it as much as I did. So this year, the two experiences that I did do with the Halloween twist was Space Mountain, which I've done before. Now, Space Mountain, it is the exact same track. Obviously, they're not going to switch the track for one night and one night only. But instead of having it so you have stars off in the sky, you have pitch blackness. So the entire thing is completely pitch black. And then they also have a completely different, spookier soundtrack that is being blasted throughout the entire attraction. Well, the people that I went with was 3 other adults and one very, very, very small baby. The baby is only 7 months old, so obviously he could not go onto Space Mountain. So me and 2 of the other people went on Space Mountain, then we got off, and me and one of the people stayed behind with the baby, and then me and the other 2 people went on Space Mountain again. So I was able to go on Space Mountain 2 different times last night with the lights off. The first time was better because the second time we had people who were on the People Mover who had their flashlights on or their phones on, and it lit up a lot more of the room than you would anticipate, mainly due to the fact that it was complete pitch darkness in there. Overall, amazing, amazing, amazing effects to have being in complete pitch black. I know the attraction inside and out, so I still know exactly when we're going to turn, when we're going to dip down, we're going to go up a little hill. But at the same time, it was still just a great activity from start to finish. And if you've never done it, I highly, highly recommend going to check it out. In addition to that, there is also a Halloween twist over at Monsters Inc. Laugh Floor. We did not do this year. I had done in the past, and what they do is instead of going through the usual comedy routine, this time around, all of the different characters are commenting on different people's costumes around the room. And it is just full, pure silliness. And I just absolutely love silliness. So it's a win-win in my book. The other one that has a Halloween twist still this year is going to be the Mad Tea Party, which I did do. I've got a video that will be going live. I think it's tomorrow. I've got it set to go live. Pretty sure it's tomorrow. So watch out for that tomorrow. It will be going live at some point in the morning or later on. But the Halloween twist for Mad Tea Party is, instead of having it so you go around in circles, which you're still doing, they don't have the Alice in Wonderland music playing, but instead we've got a spookier Halloween twist, and we also have all these different lighting effects being blasted all around. So in addition to doing Space Mountain twice and doing the Mad Tea Party once, from 7 o'clock until the park closed, the attractions that we did do during the Halloween party was Space Mountain, Mad Tea Party, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Winnie the Pooh, and Peter Pan's Flight, right? I want to say that it's only those 6. There might be, and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So there were 7 different attractions that we did during the Halloween party with virtually no wait for every single one of them. In addition to that, hey, Roger, how you doing? In addition to that, we also had it so there's a few other things that are exclusive to the party. Now, my personal favorites, are all of them. So let's talk a little bit about each one of them. Let's talk about first, let's start with the parade. So the parade is known as Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade. And in Mickey's Boo to You Halloween Parade, we've got probably the best parade that Disney does, in my personal opinion. But we have it so all of the Disney characters that we know and love are all Halloween themed. But that's not all. So in addition to having some of our characters like Minnie Mouse and Clarabelle Cow and Daisy Duck dressed up as the Sanderson sisters, we also have characters like Mickey Mouse dressed up as a vampire. We also have it so Chip and Dale are in their spooky finest, and so many other things. But in addition to all of those characters, we also have so many different highlights of the parade that are just mind-boggling to me. First off, the Pirates of the Caribbean float is this massive pirate ship that only comes out for this parade and this parade only, and they just store it backstage the rest of the year. But it's a massive float, and it only has 2 characters on it. We've got Captain Jack Sparrow along with Hector Barbosa, and it is just amazing. Like, the craftsmanship on it is just absolutely amazing. But in addition to those 2, we also have it so there's an entire sequence that is just themed specifically around the Haunted Mansion. In fact, let's go through and pull up a quick little video that I have. So one of my favorite parts of this entire parade is the grave diggers. So if you've ever watched or if you ever gone to the Haunted Mansion, obviously we have things like the grave diggers who would be going through and burying bodies. Wait, hold up. All right. Let's get it this way here. Look at those sparks. Like, those are actual sparks coming out of those things. So what they do is they take the shovels, they put it against the thing, they start to spin it around, and it actually causes sparks to come out. Love the Boo to You parade. The Boo to You parade is, without a doubt, I think it's the best Disney parade. Paint the Night might be better, but Boo to You, I think it could be. It's my favorite one for sure here at Walt Disney World. Magic mirror on the wall, who's most misunderstood of all? That's a good show too. So in addition to the gravediggers, we also have the hitchhiking ghost star there. We also have it so there is a Harvest Fest hoedown. I think it's funny because the Harvest Fest hoedown in the past has always been led by Clarabelle Cow, who's going through and saying, swing your partner round and round. But now, because she is one of the Sanderson sisters with Minnie and Daisy, they now have it so Goofy is there instead. So we have Goofy is the person going through and doing the roll call. Now, last time I had seen this parade in person, they had it so the people dancing were cowboys this time around they switched them all to scarecrows, which I found hilarious because years ago I went with my friend who is from Texas, and she loves a cowboy because that's what you just have to that's just the culture of Texas. And I remember us watching that parade, and as soon as the Cowboys came up, she's like, "Oh my gosh, look at the Cowboys!" And she's like freaking out about how much she loves Cowboys. And they were out there dancing. And so when I saw them coming up yesterday, I was like, I'm gonna send a picture of these Cowboys to her because I know how much she was freaking out last time. And then they were scarecrows, and I found it so funny that they took the Cowboys away and they replaced them with scarecrows. Uh, so they've got that, and then we get to the end of the parade, and the end of the parade is probably my favorite part of any parade because I mean, like the Gravediggers is cool, but we had this great song called "It's Good to Be Bad," played by all of the different Disney villains. And when I say all the different Disney villains, I mean there's a lot of Disney villains that are out here in this parade, which is just one of those things that I think makes the parade that much better. Because most parades you would go to, you'd be like, oh, there's Maleficent, and that's all. Or, hey, there's Captain Hook, and that's all. So the fact that we actually have several different Disney villains that are all out there ending the parade is just mind-boggling to me. That we have so many different characters in one place. In addition to those characters, we have things like Pain and Panic are there. The Queen of Hearts is there with a bunch of different cards. We have the bowler hat guy, aka Goob from Meet the Robinsons, and so many other characters. But in addition to all of those amazing, amazing parts of the parade, there is one part of the parade that is near and dear to my heart. It is near and dear to most people's heart. And in fact, when people talk about Mickey's Boo to You parade, most people first think about this specific thing. And that is the thing that I actually posted my short about earlier today. Not about it. It was just a video of it. Let's find it here. Or did I delete? I might have deleted it after I posted it. Oh, here we go. The Headless Horseman. So we've got the Headless Horseman out there, and the Headless Horseman is an actual horse. It's not an animatronic. And the person who's on top of the horse cannot see. The horse has been trained on exactly how to follow the trail, and they have the different wranglers that are along the trail to help the horse exactly find his way. So when I was sitting there, I always try to figure out exactly who the wranglers are. And we saw a few people walking by. Some of them were in like the outfits that they wear over at Fort Wilderness Campground. And then there's a few other ones that were like secret wranglers that I don't think many people knew they were wranglers. But if you pay attention, you can try to spot them out in that crowd before the thing. But overall, the parade is incredible. I absolutely love the parade. It truly is worth, I think it's partially like worth the price of admission for the entire thing. It looks like we got some questions here. We're going to go to the questions and we'll talk about our next segment here. Oh, I think I remember something that each unit of the Boo to You represented land in Magic Kingdom. RIP Tomorrowland segment. The Country Bears and the Hoedown is my favorite with all the bears. I've never heard that one before. Is that true? I've never heard that one before. I can't think of any time that we had like a Tomorrowland segment of the parade. But maybe I'm just drawing a blank. But I can't think of any Tomorrowland segment that we've had or Adventureland for that matter. Well, I guess no, we got Pirates of the Caribbean, and we would have Liberty Square be Haunted Mansion. But what would be Main Street? Which one's Main Street? I'm not sure. I've never heard that one before, but maybe it might be true. But I've never heard it. That'd be kind of cool. But I can't think of any time that they would have had a futuristic. Wait, they did have a spaceship at one point. Was that this parade, or was that there used to be a spaceship during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas parade? I remember that one, but I can't think of one for this parade. But maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. I'm drawing a blank right now. Now I'm going to be spending this entire evening going through old YouTube videos and trying to figure out exactly where that was. Okay, so let's go to our next segment, which is going to be the fireworks show. Now, if you watch my full video that we posted earlier this morning over on YouTube, I did have the full video of the fireworks show that is currently going on for this party. The fireworks show is called. It's a different name. What's it called again? It is called Fireworks. Where's it at? Oh, Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular. So this is going to be the fireworks that you can find down Main Street, USA. Now, you can watch these from anywhere. However, there are a few things that make it a little bit more special on Main Street, USA. Number one, you can't really see it in my video except for a split second. But on the stage in front of the castle, a giant, and when I say giant, I mean like he's massive. Jack Skellington is out there. He is a massive puppet of Jack Skellington, and he is going through and talking with the guest. If you listen to the video, you can hear Jack Skellington talking, and it sounds like maybe it's just him kind of talking around. That's partially true, but at the same time, he is up on the stage for a good portion of the show and kind of interacting with the crowd out there, which does make it a very cool experience. But the entire premise is that him and Zero have found this spooky haunted house where they're telling stories about people going to a spooky haunted house. And our characters that go to the spooky haunted house are Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Goofy, and Pluto. And we have it so the six of them go through a few different situations that make things a little more spooky for all of us in addition to that. Now, a few different things about this that make the fireworks really unique compared to just everyday fireworks like Happily Ever After is not only do we have the projections everywhere, but we also have it so they have the trees on Main Street, USA are being lit up with different Christmas colors as well. And we also have panoramic views of fireworks too. So if you are ever driving towards the Magic Kingdom during a party night, you'll see these massive signs saying things like road closed ahead on this day and this day and this day and this day from this time to this time. That's mainly due to the fact that they do have panoramic fireworks during this thing. Now, they have toned it back a little bit from one of the old fireworks shows. The old fireworks show had the great line of Ursula being there, and they go, Ursula, so nice of you to plop in. They don't have that anymore, unfortunately, since they switched things up. In fact, one of my other favorite parts of the old one was when we used to have it so it went through the na 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 na. Grim grinning ghosts come out to socialize. That was probably better. I like that fireworks show better than this one now that I think about it. I still think this is a good one. The way that they also did the old one is instead of just having it so it's 3 fireworks, there were 5 fireworks. So you're more surrounded by the fireworks on the old fireworks show than what the current one is. So maybe I don't like, what's it called again? Disney's Not So Spooky Spectacular. Mickey's Boo to You fireworks show may have been a little bit better in the past. I think I might have liked the old one better. In fact, I did like the old one better. I think this is still a good show. I just don't think it's as good of a show as what it once was. But at the same time, I do applaud them for trying to switch it up every few years, because if you have it so it's the same party every single year, then it's probably just not as exciting. Although I did go every single year from 2010 until 2019. And then 2020, they didn't have the parties. Oh, I love Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Okay, let's get to our next thing. The next one is actually something that I was invited to by Disney years ago to be part of the very first show ever. What? That's right. It's the Hocus Pocus Villain Spook, or it's not Spooktacular, Spelltacular. And there was years ago, I had it so I could put my name in to possibly be invited by Disney to go to the opening day of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party with the opening show of Hocus Pocus Villain Spelltacular, and have it so we had VIP seats, and they chose me, and we got to go, and it was one of the coolest experiences ever. So this show, in my opinion, is the best stage show that Disney does. And I'm not even like exaggerating. I love the Festival of the Lion King, but I think this is a little bit better, and I don't know why. And I don't know if part of it is because I love the Lion King. So no matter what, I'm always gonna love the things that are associated with the Lion King. I liked Hocus Pocus growing up, but this show turned me into a Hocus Pocus fan to the point that now I have to watch Hocus Pocus every single Halloween season. In the past, I was like, I like Hocus Pocus, but I watched it maybe 2 times before the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular debuted at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. And then after I saw the show, I was like, oh, I got to watch Hocus Pocus again. And now I have to watch Hocus Pocus every year, like every year without fail. And now Hocus Pocus 2 is also on my list every single year because even though a lot of people don't like it, it's actually very funny in my opinion. So the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular consists of the three Sanderson sisters from Hocus Pocus returning once again back to the living world. And when they come out of the living world, they decide that they're going to use their Hocus Pocus party potion to get the greatest party of all time put together. So they need a few different things. They need to have it so they have shadows show up. So of course, Dr. Facilier from the Princess of the Frog shows up because he is the Shadow Man. And when he shows up, he comes out and brings some shadows with him and helps the Sanderson sisters out. And then they need nefarious nightmares. And when they bring out the Nightmare Man, aka Oogie Boogie from The Nightmare Before Christmas, he comes out and he makes all of their nightmares come true. With it, we have a huge musical number. We have it so all of the girls end up crying up on stage. And then finally, we also need some frightful friends. So Maleficent shows up because she's upset that she was not invited to the party. And she brings out a bunch of her frightful friends, which include the Evil Queen, Lady Tremaine, Captain Jack Sparrow, Hades, Jafar, more people who I'm drawing a blank on. And it's so cool to see all of these famous villains coming out, and they're all up on the stage at the exact same time. And then eventually we start the party potion, and the Sanderson sisters come out and they sing, I put a spell on you, and now you're mine. And it has so many different callbacks to Hocus Pocus that it's just such a great show. And that's also one of the reasons why I had to go back after seeing it for the first time a few years ago when they debuted the show. And I went back and I watched the Hocus Pocus film after that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that entire show is just filled with nod to nod to nod to nod to nod after the original film. So if you are a fan of Hocus Pocus, you must watch the show. So the people that I went with, none of them had ever seen the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular before. I said, we have to watch this. Afterwards, they all agreed that it was an amazing show, and they were very happy that I dragged them to it. I liked it so much that, of course, at midnight, I went back to watch it again. So with that in mind, let's talk about a few of my helpful hints for making the most of your night at Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Okay, so every single person that goes to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party has different things that they must do. Just human nature. Some people just want the candy. Some people just want the characters. Some people want, oh, by the way, we didn't even talk about the characters. There are exclusive characters that are just there for the party that you usually don't see unless you're like me and do a lot of the Run Disney races. Then you probably do see them quite often. But a lot of people rarely ever get to see these characters. They had Alice and the Mad Hatter out, Tweedledee and Tweedledum, the Queen of Hearts was out, Winnie the Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore, and Tigger were out, all dressed up in different Halloween costumes. In addition to all those characters, we got Pluto with his little Halloween bandana on. Mickey and Minnie are out. Jack and Sally are out. We had Mirabelle and Bruno. We don't talk about Bruno, no. So many different characters are out on this during this party that it's great if you want to go through and meet a lot of characters. This is a great way to do it. In addition to that, like I said, we got those dance parties. We got so many different things. But everyone is different on what their goals are, on what they want to go through and actually see when they're going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. So this is the way that Brent Dodge typically does it. I did a little bit differently yesterday because I was with my neighbors, and I said, whatever you guys want to do, I'm good with, as long as I can watch the villains show or the Hocus Pocus show at one point. I can watch one parade and I can watch the fireworks. I'm good. Uh, and they were fine with that. So yesterday, the way we did it was we went and we did Dumbo because their son was dressed as Dumbo. Then after that, we got Halloween candy. Then we went on Space Mountain. Then we went on Space Mountain again. Then we did the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. After we did the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, we watched the Hocus Pocus show. Then we got some ice cream. Then we watched the fireworks. And then we all went our separate ways. And after that, I went full force. I took 2 candy trails on the way over to watch the Cadaver Dance. After watching the Cadaver Dance, I watched the parade. After I watched the parade, then I went through another candy trail. And then I went and did Peter Pan's Flight, The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. And then I went on the Mad Tea Party. And then after the Mad Tea Party, I went back and I watched one final series of the Hocus Pocus show. Now, if you want to do things and get the most bang for your buck out of this party, what I suggest doing is not spending too much time on going attractions that are open all year round. However, I do know that there's lots of people out there who love to go to the party specifically because there are no lines on every single ride. In fact, in 2009, when I had that annual pass specifically for the Halloween party, when they had it that one time and one time only, one of the greatest things about that pass was every single time I went to the party, I could focus completely on a different thing. So one time I focused on just meeting all the characters. Another day I focused just on finding the perfect spot for the parades, and I watched both parades. There was another time that I said I'm going to find the perfect spot for the fireworks and just kind of stage out there and wait for the fireworks. And I did that. Then there was one time where I said I'm just going to watch all 4 Hocus Pocus shows. And it was great. So depending on what you want to do, you can do pretty much anything. One year I went through or one time during the 2019, I said, you know what? I'm not even going to do any of the Halloween stuff. I am literally just going to spend the entire time doing every single attraction in the park. And I did every single attraction in the park. Now, most of the times, not all the times, but most of the times when you're here at the party, all of the lines are pretty much walk-ons, with the exception possibly sometimes of some of the more popular things or the ones that have special things for the Halloween party. So like last night when we did Space Mountain, the first time we did Space Mountain, we literally walked right on. The second time we waited in the Star Tunnel for a little bit, but it wasn't too bad of a wait that it made us second guess us actually waiting. But it was a little disappointing because the first time we literally walked right on. Mad Tea Party, the first time I went over there to do it, it ended up breaking down right before I got on there, but there was a little bit of a wait that time because it was a special thing. The only other attraction that we found that had a wait the entire night was Tron. Everything else was a walk-on, including Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I checked the app multiple times, and every single time I checked it, it was at 5 minutes almost every time, and it was at 10 minutes one time. So pretty much if you want to go through and just do all the attractions, go for it. Like, you can honestly do that. If you want to meet the characters, now there are a few different ways that you can go about meeting the characters, and there are some ways that I think are a lot better to do than other ways. Now, the character lines, specifically Jack and Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas, will have insanely long lines, like to the point where sometimes people talk about how the line for Jack and Sally is 3 hours long. And that's not even an exaggeration. It literally is 3 hours long. So what you can do is they start letting people in for the party at 4 o'clock. So if you want to, you can go over there at 4 o'clock and you can get right in line, and you can have it so you are the first people or some of the first people to get in there at 7 o'clock. But again, you're then waiting still for 3 hours to meet Jack and Sally. Or what you can do, and I highly suggest doing it this way, is if you are okay skipping the parade or you're okay skipping the fireworks, that is the time to get in the Jack and Sally line, and that is the time to get in the Mickey and Minnie line, because those lines are going to be much, much shorter. If you go to any of the characters during the party, later in the day, you will see much shorter waits than at the start of the day. So at the start of the party, we went by the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. We saw Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, and who am I forgetting? Pooh, Tigger, Eeyore, and Piglet. I was like, I know the 4. I just can't think of which ones I went in order for. And when you go through and you see all of these different characters, the line for them was out and it went down towards the Cheshire Cafe. it was a long line. Later on that night, I went by it again when I went on the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh, and the line was maybe like 6 or 7 people long, and they were still letting people in line. So if I wanted to meet them, I could have met them with a much, much, much shorter wait. So if you want to meet the characters, great, but you don't have to do it right away because the lines will slow down as the evening goes by. People are reacting way too much to my stories right now on Instagram. I just keep on hearing the bam, 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 bam. I can see that it's the notifications from Instagram. I just don't know who's responding to them. So I apologize that it keeps on beeping at you. But the way that I like to do this is I always like to focus at least getting 2 Hocus Pocus shows in, the fireworks in for sure, and at least 1 parade, but I do like to do both parades. So if you are like me, the way that you should do the night of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is start off with the most or the least popular attraction that you know there's not going to be as long of a wait for later on, which would be the Mad Tea Party. So that Mad Tea Party is going to have that special Halloween overlay. I would get in line for that first, and then after finishing that up, it is going to be roughly 7:05, 7:10. Make your way over to Space Mountain because most of the people who are going right there to Space Mountain right after that at 7 o'clock yesterday, it was a 20-minute wait. About 15 minutes later, it was a 5-minute wait. So by the time you finish Mad Tea Party and you get over there to Space Mountain, most likely what you are looking at is having a 5, maybe 10-minute wait for Space Mountain. By the time you finish that, you'll probably have time to head over to the stage show and watch the very first ever, well, not ever, but the first for that night, Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular. Be able to watch that show, and then you can kind of go about your way and go do a few candy trails before you come back and watch the first parade. After watching the first parade, you have enough time to do a few more candy trails or maybe meet a character or two, or watch the second Hocus Pocus show. And after you finish that up, then you can go back and you can get ready for the fireworks. After watching the fireworks, what I like to do is go make my way over towards Frontierland to watch the second parade. Now, the second parade does have less of a crowd than the first parade, but unlike the Disney Starlight Parade, it's still going to have a longer wait on the second one, if that makes sense. So there are more people who are sticking around till the end of the party opposed to a regular day at Magic Kingdom. So if you go to Disney Starlight Parade on the first parade run through of the night, usually it is very packed and most people leave the park either after that or after the fireworks. But and then on the second parade, it's, easier to find a spot. During the party, not as many people are going to be leaving after the fireworks because they paid for the special event. They're going to stay there till midnight. And that means that the second parade showing is still a little busy. I was able to get front row seats for the parade, and it was a great spot. So that video will be coming out sometime later on this week. So just kind of keep on watching out for that as well. But after finishing up that parade, you can go hit a few more attractions if you want to. You can go hit a few more characters. Don't hit the characters, but you can go meet a few characters. And then after that, you can go do a few more candy lines. And after you go through all that, you can make your way over to Main Street USA and watch the final Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular, which starts at midnight. If you want to have it so you can get closer to the stage, this is probably the best showing to do, this or the second to last one. Now, the only problem that does make the last one a little bit more busy is the fact that everything else is close in the park as soon as it hits midnight, with the exception of the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular. And that will be going at midnight, allowing people who are about to leave the park to go watch it. So that's exactly what I did. I went over there and I watched the Hocus Pocus Villain Spectacular right at midnight. And then by the time I finished the park was closed and the monorail line was still a little long. I did the walk back, which is a 2-mile walk. But I don't recommend that to people who are tired and unlike me. I'm still wide awake at that point. So overall, the Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, great event, great night. If you've never done it, I highly recommend it. I know it is expensive, but if you've never done it, I highly recommend trying to do it at least once in your life if you're here during the Halloween season. And if you don't, well, that's fine too. But that's just my 2 cents. Oh, hey, let's go. This watch is driving me crazy how it keeps on boom, boom tonight. And I don't know if you guys can hear that or if it's just the computer. for me. Oh, does anyone out there have any questions before we wrap up this bad boy this evening? Like, it just keeps on beeping. I'm not even touching anything. I don't know why it keeps on doing that. All right, does anyone else out there have any questions before we wrap up this evening? But like I said earlier, when it comes to late night events or after party events or after hour events, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party is easily my favorite of all of them. Did I see any unique costumes? I think I was actually with the best costume of the night. So my friends, my neighbors, they're right there. Hey guys. Actually, I don't know if you remember this. So 7 months ago, we were here doing the Wednesday show, and all of a sudden, my friend Lauren popped on, aka my neighbor, and I was like, Lauren, what are you doing? You just had a baby. Like, she was literally just had a baby that day, and she was watching the Wednesday show with us. And they're now a 7-month-old, and the 7-month-old was dressed up as Dumbo the Flying Elephant, and it was one of the cutest costumes I've ever seen, to the point where we went to ride Dumbo with Dumbo. And I don't think I've ever seen so many people stopping like, look at the cute little baby. It was a really, really cute costume. So I honestly think that was the cutest costume I saw. I was not very impressed with many costumes yesterday. I was on the monorail with 4 people who were dressed the same, and I couldn't figure out what their costume was. And they came on and they said, we've got the greatest costume that you'll see tonight. And they were all like celebratory. And then they started like telling people they should get pictures with them. And then there was like 2 people who were like, oh yeah, I'll get a picture with you. And I was like, I don't know what they are. So, but last night's costumes, I didn't see anything that really stuck out. I didn't even dress up. If you've seen my costumes in the past, I usually go all out. I usually use construction paper and cardboard to make very elaborate costumes. But unfortunately, I just didn't have the time to do it this year. And I just had short notice and then, was going to the party. So, but yeah, no, overall, great party. But I just didn't see any costumes that really wowed me last night. And I was a little disappointed because I was hoping that there'd be a few costumes where I'd be like, "Oh, look at that!" But there was nothing that really stuck out. There was one family that I think what they were going for. I'm not positive. I think they were going for the Phantom Manor over in Disneyland Paris, but I couldn't really tell because they were like at an angle for me when I was waiting for the parade to start. And if that was the Phantom Manor, well done, because I think that was obscure enough that I really appreciated it, but I don't know if enough other people would have appreciated it, which I think makes a good costume when it's something that's subtle, but at the same time it's unique. So, but yeah, nothing that really over the top of my head was like, look at that costume. That is the great costume ever. Did I have my mom check my candy before eating it? No, I did not. No, I just ate the candy. I trust Disney. Oh, hey, let's wrap up this bad boy. Let's check out our subscriber count right now before we wrap this bad boy up. We started off with 8,922, and we're at 8,923. Oh yeah, we're one person closer to 9,000 people. That's exciting. I'm getting very excited. So we're going pretty slow in the subscriber count over the last month. Like September was a very slow month for YouTube for me, but it's starting to pick up over the last week again. So keep on spreading the word. Keep on watching the crazy challenge video too, by the way. I think that's at like 3,200 views last time I looked. It's been a few days since I've looked. But those views have gone down, or they've not gone down, but they've slowed down. So if we can try to speed that up again, because that's just a great video. All right, but we're going to be wrapping up tonight's episode right here. As always, tonight's episode is sponsored by our Patreon pals. If you're one of our Patreon pals out there in the chat room right now, give us an oh yeah. Thank you everyone out there for joining us once again this week. Please keep on spreading the word about the Wednesday show and From Screen to Theme, and invite anyone and everyone to join the groups over on Facebook or to subscribe here on YouTube. As always, remember that anything can happen if you let it. Until next time, have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye. Goodbye now. Bye-bye now. Goodbye. Goodbye now. Are are they gone? Are they gone? Oh, good. My cheeks are just killing me. I can't stand this kind of pressure.